All right, today we're going to dive into what is, without a doubt, one of the biggest, messiest, and most expensive strategy shifts we've seen in tech for a long, long time. We're talking about Meta's wild pivot from the metaverse to AI. Let's get into what's really going on inside that company. I mean, it's the question everyone's asking, right? One minute, it feels like everything is about virtual worlds and headsets. And the next, it's a full on pedal to the metal race for artificial superintelligence. And look, this isn't happening in a vacuum. You've got rivals like Google and OpenAI just setting this blistering pace. And Meta was basically forced to make a U-turn that has shaken the company right to its core. And this right here just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you have the metaverse dream, that whole vision of virtual worlds that literally defined the company for years. And on the other, the AI pivot, which has become this all-consuming obsession with building artificial general intelligence. This isn't just, a small change in priorities. We're talking about a complete reinvention of the company's identity. Let's just be blunt about it. The Metaverse project, at least as we knew it, is pretty much dead. The idea might still be floating around, but the money, the top talent, the focus from the execs, it's all been completely rerouted. So what was the price tag for hitting the eject button on that dream? A whopping $70 billion. Yeah, you heard that right. That's the scale of Meta's massive bet on AI. This is not just dipping a toe in the water. This is a gigantic, company-altering gamble on a brand new future, and it's being funded by the ghost of the old one. And what's so fascinating is just how swift and brutal this course correction was. We're talking thousands of jobs in the VR division gone. Entire gaming studios, like Sanzaro Games, just shut down. All of that funding, all that brainpower was funneled directly into their AI development. You know, this quote from our source material just captures the drama of it all so perfectly. It frames the whole thing as this almost mythical act, sacrificing one imaginary world, the metaverse, in an attempt to summon an imaginary god, a true superintelligence. So, a pivot this massive? Well, it's going to cause some serious internal turmoil, and our first big clue comes from a sort of confession around Meta's flagship AI, Llama 4, and it really pulls back the curtain on a company in chaos. Our key witness in all this is Jan LeCun. This guy is a titan in the AI field, Meta's former chief AI scientist. And some of his recent comments, pretty much on his way out the door, have exposed some really serious dysfunction inside the company. And here's the bombshell. LeCun straight up claimed Meta fudged its Llama 4 benchmarks. Now, benchmarks are basically the standardized tests you use to see how good an AI is. He alleged they were mixing and matching different model versions just to get better-looking results. In the AI world, that is a huge accusation. It suggests the progress they're showing the public might not be the whole story. This quote, wow, it tells you everything you need to know about the culture clash happening inside. It just speaks volumes about this rift between the pure, academic-style researchers and the top-down corporate mandates. And that kind of friction, that's exactly why you see top talent start running for the exits. So all of this led to a full-blown crisis of confidence. Mark Zuckerberg himself reportedly lost faith in his own generative AI organization, which, as you can imagine, triggered a wave of departures. And just to pour gasoline on the fire, LeCun publicly slammed his own replacement, the 28-year-old Alexander Wang, calling him too young and inexperienced for such a critical role. Okay, so as if all that internal chaos wasn't enough, Meta is now facing some serious heat from the outside. Let's take a look at a major acquisition that's suddenly come under a regulatory microscope. The deal we're talking about is the acquisition of a company called Manus, and it was for a cool $2 billion. This was supposed to be a really bold move, to snap up some key talent and tech, but it has hit a major, major roadblock. So to really get the problem here, you gotta understand this term, Singapore washed. It's basically when a company with deep Chinese roots moves its headquarters to Singapore, often to get around tricky geopolitical or regulatory stuff. Well, Manus did exactly that last year, and it's the very reason they're in hot water now. And here are the stakes. We're talking about China's Ministry of Commerce investigating this deal because they're worried about potential export control violations. And this isn't just some slap on the wrist. The founders could actually be facing criminal charges. And for Meta, the worst-case scenario is that the entire $2 billion deal just collapses. Okay, so you've got regulators closing in, top talent walking out the door. The pressure to actually deliver on all these AI promises has never been higher. So what is the end game? What are they even trying to build? Well, despite all the chaos, Meta has a seriously ambitious plan. But amidst all the drama, they are actually shipping new tech. Take SAM 3D, for example. It's this really cool tool that can turn a single photo into a 3D model, and it's already being used in a practical way, powering that view in room feature on Facebook Marketplace. It's a little sign that innovation is still happening under the hood. But the real ambition, that's on this roadmap. By 2026, the goal is to roll out two huge flagship models: Mango, which is for creating media like images and videos, and Avocado, for really complex reasoning. And underneath it all, they're building a staggering amount of AI infrastructure to power it, the Meta Compute Project. I mean, we're talking enough computing power to run entire cities. The scale is just mind-boggling. And so this all brings us to the absolute core of the story, what I'm calling Meta's high-stakes paradox. The company is caught between its incredible, almost unbelievable power and these really profound vulnerabilities. The big question is, can this massive, chaotic, and incredibly expensive gamble actually work? And this just spells out that paradox perfectly. On the one hand, Meta has nearly unlimited cash. They're still making these huge, bold acquisitions, and now they have a single focused vision coming from the very top. But on the other hand, their best people are leaving, regulators are circling, and, let's be honest, the company has a very recent history of major, expensive flops. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question. After all the turmoil, all the billions spent, and all the talent that's been lost, the fate of Mark Zuckerberg's superintelligence dream now rests pretty heavily on the shoulders of his controversial new hire. We're all going to find out pretty soon if this epic gamble was a stroke of genius or just another ghost in the Silicon Valley machine.